Ladies, let me tell you something. When a man ignores you, he thinks he's taking his power back. But what he doesn't realize is that he's handing you the keys to your own transformation requires, because silence is not a weakness. It's a classroom where strength is born, where patience sharpens and dignity rises. And when you stop chasing what ignores you, you start attracting what deserves you. And that requires. My friend, is where the game changes. There comes a time in every woman's life when she realizes that attention is not validation, that a response is not respect, that his silence doesn't define her worth. Requires. It defines his immaturity, and when you learn to walk in peace instead of begging for presence, you teach him a lesson he'll never forget. See, every time you choose not to react, not to text, not to call, requires. Not to explain yourself, you plant a seed of curiosity in his mind, a silence that echoes louder than any confrontation ever could. And while he's wondering why you haven't reached out, you're out there glowing, requires. Healing, rebuilding, and becoming the woman he took for granted. You teach him the price of ignoring you, not by punishing him, but by elevating yourself, because the truth is, your absence is a mirror, requires. And when he looks into that mirror and sees what he lost, it will hurt him deeper than your words ever could. You don't have to block him. You don't have to beg. You don't have to play games. Requires. All you have to do is shift your focus back to you, because your energy is your power, your peace is your weapon, and your silence is your message. And when a woman masters that, no man can manipulate her again. Requires. The moment you stop explaining your worth to someone who refuses to see it, that's when your glow begins, because real power isn't found in proving anything. It's found in knowing who you are. Requires. In standing tall in your own light, in understanding that the love you give so freely to others must first be poured into yourself. When he ignores you, he expects you to crumble, to question yourself. Requires. To fight for his attention, but when you do the opposite, when you stay silent, calm, and radiant, you become unforgettable. He'll scroll through his phone looking for your name, wondering why the messages stopped. Requires. Replaying memories in his head, trying to figure out what changed. But it's not that you changed, it's that you woke up, you grew, and you decided that peace feels better than confusion. Requires. The price of ignoring you is not your tears, it's your transformation, because when a woman reclaims her peace, she becomes a force, and when she becomes a force, he can no longer reach her in the same way. Requires. He may try to come back when he feels your energy slip away. He may send a "hey" just to see if he still has access, but you don't respond out of revenge, you respond out of self-respect. Requires. Or maybe you don't respond at all because the closure you once needed from him, you've already given yourself. See, teaching him the price of ignoring you is not about ego, it's about energy. Requires. It's about showing that your time, your heart, and your presence are privileges, not guarantees. And if he treats you like an option, you remind him silently that you are the prize. Requires. There's a kind of pain that hits a man when he realizes the woman who used to care no longer does. When her attention is gone, her warmth is gone, her softness has turned into serenity. Requires. And that pain is the one lesson he can't unlearn. You teach him the price of ignoring you by no longer being the woman who explains, who chases, who settles for half love. Requires. You teach him by becoming the woman who smiles again, who invests in her dreams, who builds herself up so beautifully that the version of you he once knew feels like a memory. Requires. You glow differently when you stop needing someone to see your light, and that glow haunts him because it reminds him of everything he took for granted, everything he misjudged. Requires. Everything he thought would always be there. Let your growth be the karma, let your silence be the lesson, let your peace be the punishment, because nothing hits harder than a woman who moves on gracefully. Requires. When you stop responding to disrespect with emotion, you shift the balance of power, and he starts to feel the weight of his own choices. The distance you create becomes his discomfort. Requires. The calm you carry becomes his chaos, because he realizes too late that your love was rare, your effort was genuine, your heart was loyal, and now it's gone. Requires. There is a moment every man faces when he realizes the silence is permanent, when the messages he ignored no longer come, when the woman who once cared no longer looks back. Requires. And that's the moment he understands the price. It's not measured in regret, it's measured in emptiness, because he'll go looking for someone like you, and never find her again. Requires. That's the power of detachment. That's the power of emotional discipline. That's the power of a woman who remembers her worth. Don't let him see you struggle. Let him see you rise. Don't post out of pain. Requires. Post out of peace. Don't prove him wrong. Prove yourself right. Because the goal is not to make him miss you. The goal is to make yourself proud. When you stop chasing closure, you start creating clarity. Requires. And that clarity brings you peace. And that peace makes you magnetic. He might not admit it, but he feels it when you pull away. He feels it when you stop checking his stories. When your messages stop coming. Requires. When your energy shifts, he'll pretend it doesn't matter, but deep down, he'll feel the difference because energy doesn't lie. You don't need to scream your worth, you just need to stand in it. Requires. Every time you choose not to react, you teach him that ignoring you comes at a cost, losing your presence, your kindness, your softness, your energy. That's the price, and it's a price he'll pay in silence. Requires. The same silence he once gave you. There's nothing more powerful than a woman who learns to let go with grace, because letting go is not losing, it's leveling up. So the next time he ignores you, requires. Don't take it personally, take it as confirmation that your energy no longer fits small spaces. Take that time to love yourself harder, to build yourself stronger, to walk with your head higher, because one day, requires, he'll realize the truth. You were never asking for too much, you were just offering it to the wrong person. You don't teach him by telling him. Requires. You teach him by becoming the version of yourself that doesn't chase love. She attracts it. That doesn't beg for attention. She commands it. That doesn't wait to be chosen. She chooses herself. Requires. And that's the lesson that will echo long after you're gone. You're not punishing him. You're protecting your peace. You're not proving a point. You're preserving your power. And when you do that, requires. When you step into that calm, confident energy, you become unforgettable. So let him ignore, let him assume, let him lose sleep over what happened. Requires. While you rest in the truth that you've grown beyond needing validation. Your peace is proof that you've won. Your silence is proof that you've healed. Your glow is proof that you've outgrown him. Requires. That's the real revenge, not bitterness, not games, just peace, growth, and grace. Because when a man ignores a woman of value, he's not just ignoring her, he's ignoring his own blessing. Requires. And when she finally walks away, he learns what silence sounds like when it's full of power, what distance feels like when it's permanent, and what love means when it's no longer his to have. That's the price. Requires. And no apology, no message, no late night call can undo it. ChatGPT said silence speaks louder than confrontation, because when you stop talking, when you stop explaining, requires. When you stop trying to make someone understand your worth, that's when your energy shifts, and that shift is louder than any argument you could ever have. It is not about pretending you don't care. Requires. It is about realizing that the more you try to prove your value to someone who refuses to see it, the more you drain yourself of the power that makes you magnetic in the first place. Silence is not weakness. Requires. It is the highest form of strength. It is emotional maturity in motion. It says, I know what I bring, I know who I am, and I refuse to keep handing that power over to someone who treats it like it's replaceable. Requires. Because silence teaches what words never can. It teaches consequence. It teaches boundaries. It teaches awareness. And in a world where everyone is shouting to be seen, requires. The woman who chooses silence becomes unforgettable because her calm becomes the echo that lingers in the mind of the one who ignored her. When you stop confronting, when you stop sending long messages, requires. When you stop reacting to his distance, you create a new kind of space, a sacred one, a space where your energy no longer bleeds for attention, but stands for respect. And that's where he starts to feel the loss. Requires. Not because you punished him, but because you stopped rewarding him with your effort. Every time you stop explaining, you're reminding yourself that not everything deserves your response. Requires. And not everyone deserves your access. Silence becomes your armor, your protection, your proof that you have outgrown the need to be understood by someone who wasn't even trying to listen. When you go silent, requires. You make him face what he's been avoiding, his own actions, his own choices, his own behavior, because your voice is no longer there to fill the gaps, no longer there to justify, to soothe, to explain, and suddenly requires. the silence becomes deafening. You see, when you confront, you give him control. When you chase, you give him validation. When you overtalk, you give him comfort. But when you go silent, you give him reflection, choirs. You give him the mirror he's been avoiding. Because now he has to see the version of himself that pushed you away. He has to live with the echo of the woman who once cared, who once gave, who once showed up, requires, and now no longer does. And that absence, that emptiness, that void is what teaches him what your presence truly meant. Silence turns into memory, memory turns into longing, longing turns into realization, choirs. And that realization hits harder than any words you could have spoken. Silence becomes the lesson his ego wasn't ready for because it reveals everything that his pride tried to hide, requires. The beauty of silence is that it carries a mystery. It makes them wonder, it makes them think, it makes them question, because when you stop responding, the mind starts replaying, it starts overthinking, choirs. It starts asking, did she stop caring? Did she find peace? Did she find someone better? Or did she finally see my worth and realize I didn't deserve her? And those questions, those thoughts, choirs. Those doubts become his new obsession. Silence has a way of haunting because it gives no closure, no explanation, no emotional outlet. It forces reflection, choirs. And that reflection becomes the very punishment that pride cannot escape. You don't have to block, you don't have to beg, you don't have to announce your exit. Your absence says it all, choirs. Because silence turns distance into a lesson and peace into power. The moment you stop explaining, you start healing. The moment you stop reaching, you start rising, because silence isn't about making him miss you, choirs. It's about reminding yourself of your worth without needing anyone's validation. It's about finding peace in your own stillness. It's about knowing that your energy doesn't need to fight to be seen, choirs. When you go silent, you start hearing the truth that words once covered. You start noticing the details, the inconsistency, the avoidance. And that awareness becomes your freedom, requires. You realize that the man who truly cared would never have made you feel like an option, that the love that's meant for you will never require you to beg. And the moment you understand that, requires, your silence stops being pain and starts becoming power. Your silence becomes the teacher, the lesson that his ego can't ignore, because while he's busy waiting for your reaction, choirs, you're busy rebuilding your peace. While he's scrolling through your old messages, trying to feel relevant again, you're outgrowing the version of yourself that once settled for less, choirs. Your silence becomes your transformation. The moment you decide to stop chasing, you begin attracting, because you are no longer operating from a place of lack, but from abundance, from awareness, from strength, choirs. You're no longer the woman who explains why she deserves love. You're the woman who embodies it, who carries it, who radiates it. And that shift in your energy becomes magnetic, choirs. It's the kind of silence that doesn't need to prove, it simply is. When you go quiet, you are not giving up, you are leveling up. You are letting the universe do what your words could not, choirs. You are letting time reveal who was real and who was only there for convenience. Silence reveals truth. It exposes loyalty. It separates the temporary from the timeless, requires the ones who cared from the ones who only pretended to. And in that revelation, you find freedom. You stop forcing doors that were meant to close. You stop watering relationships that refuse to grow, choirs. You stop investing in energy that doesn't invest back. Silence is your declaration that you have learned the value of your peace. It's your way of saying, I am no longer available for confusion, for inconsistency, choirs, for half. Love, it's your way of saying, I choose me. Silence teaches the price of ignorance, because the moment he realizes that your voice is no longer there, that your energy no longer feeds his ego, choirs, that your attention no longer validates him, that's when regret begins. That's when he starts to replay everything he took for granted. That's when he realizes that silence isn't punishment, choirs. It's consequence, and there is no louder message than a woman who has found peace in walking away, because peace is power, and power is unforgettable. You see, when you use silence not to manipulate, choirs, but to protect your energy, you become untouchable. Your calm confuses those who expected chaos. Your distance disturbs those who expected dependence. Your silence reminds them that your presence was a blessing, choirs, not a burden, and now that it's gone, they finally understand the price of ignoring you. Silence is not about ego, it's about self-respect. It requires. It's about knowing that you don't need to respond to everything that disrespects you. It's about realizing that not reacting is your way of choosing peace over drama, clarity over confusion, requires. And strength over weakness, silence becomes your boundary. It becomes the wall that separates you from their chaos. And that wall is built on lessons. Pain and growth requires. It's saying I've learned enough to know that my energy is precious, that my peace is sacred, that my worth is not up for debate. Silence is your graduation from emotional chaos. It's your diploma in peace. Requires. And once you earn it, you never go back to noise. So when you go silent, go gracefully, go confidently, go intentionally. Don't do it to make him chase. Do it to make yourself heal. Don't do it to make him regret. Requires. Do it to make yourself remember who you are. Don't do it to win him back. Do it to win yourself back. Because when you rise in silence, you become the woman who no longer needs to be heard to be felt. Requires. You become the woman whose peace speaks for her, whose presence lingers long after she's gone. Silence is your power, your weapon, your healing, your protection. It's not just an action, it's a vibration. Requires. It's the kind of quiet that commands attention without asking for it. Because the truth is, silence always reveals what words try to hide. And when you master that, you never have to raise your voice again. Requires. Because your energy does all the talking. And in the end, that's what teaches him the price of ignoring you. Because while he's busy wondering if you still care, requires. You're already too busy becoming everything you were meant to be.